It tells us that the recycling industry consists of a number of identical firms. If they behave like a monopoly, each producing an equal share of the monopoly output, total industry profit would be 132. So that's telling us if they cooperate, because a monopoly, remember, is one firm. So if we have 10 firms acting like one firm, and they're not competing with each other, because one firm doesn't compete with itself, so they're not competing with each other, that means they're cooperating. They're setting price higher than it usually would be, and they're restricting output. So just know that when you see acting like monopoly, that's another way of saying they're cooperating. It says, suppose that if one individual firm competes or defects, it would make the entire monopoly profit. So if one firm kind of gets out of the deal, they're going to make the whole 132. So this is cheating. If one firm cheats, they're going to make 132. The question says, how many firms would it take to drive the expected profit from cooperation down to equal the expected profit from cheating if the one-shot Nash equilibrium profit is 0, the discount rate is 0.16, and the probability that the game ends is 0.34. So first we know that R is 0.16, F is 0.34. Let's write what cooperation would equal. Well, they're going to split industry profit equally. We don't know how many firms there are, so we're going to define that as N. So cooperation will equal 132 divided by N, because that's each firm's profit that they'll make indefinitely into the future. And we know that to represent that future stream of cash flows, we're going to use 1 plus R over R plus F. So cheating in this case is going to equal, they're going to make the 132 by themselves totally in the first year, so 132, not divided by N, just the total industry profit. And then they're going to make the Nash equilibrium from there on out. Well, in this case it's 0, so we don't really need to account for it. But we show that how we would regularly account for it, we'd have 0 times 1 plus R over R plus F, and then we'd have to minus away that first 0 from the first period where we made 132. In this case, again, it's 0, so it's going to simplify pretty nice. We can set these two things equal to each other and solve for N. Well, we know that 1 plus 0.16 over 0.16 plus 0.34 is just a number. It equals 2.32. At the same time, we can cross multiply and get N out of the denominator on the left side and put it into the numerator on the right side. Now we see that N is going to be equal to 2.32 because it says 132 times 2.32 is equal to 132 times N. But just to make sure that you're comfortable with that, we can just multiply that through and get 306.24 is equal to 132N, and then divide by 132. And again, we see that N is equal to 2.32. So any more firms, we're not going to have cooperation. The more firms we have, the harder cooperation is. So 2.32 is the indifference point where cooperating equals cheating. Anything below that, if we only have 2 firms, we're going to be able to sustain cooperation. Anything above that, if we had 3 firms, we're not going to be able to sustain cooperation and cheating is going to happen. So just know again what that indifference point is saying.